Living in New Mexico is like no other place, guys. I know you've probably heard of a ton of different opinions, and I'm here to settle the score to give you the pros and cons of what living in New Mexico is really like. Now, we've done videos like this in the past, but it is 2025. It is going into the spring. Things are changing. Things are coming anew, and I feel like it's time for an update and a refresh. So hang tight, grab your pen and your pad. Let's get into today's video. Whether you're looking to move to New Mexico because you're looking for a whole different lifestyle, slower pace of living, more affordable, a rich culture and history, better food, whatever the case is, guys, in today's video, you're going to find out that we're going to be going over some interesting topics when it comes down to living in New Mexico in this new year. And if this is your first time tuning into the Living in Albuquerque channel, welcome. My name is Eli. I love to talk with my hands, so if this bothers you, I'm sorry. It's not stopping anytime soon, but if it doesn't bother you, go ahead and hit that subscribe and notification bell down at the bottom. That way you guys never miss out on any kind of videos, because we are dropping videos every week talking about what the beautiful state of New Mexico and the cities have to offer. Now, if you are planning on moving down here within the next 6 months or the next year, whether you're looking to buy or rent, we love to connect with you guys. Now, we mainly focus on helping people with the purchase of a home, but we do have some great tools that we can pass off to you that connect you with the property managers if you are looking to lease a property. And that number popping up on the screen here, guys, is my direct line. I love to hop on a quick Zoom call with you guys just to discuss all your wants and needs to make sure that you're heading in the right direction when it comes down to making the transition to the Southwest. All right, after this topic here, you guys can pretty much pound send the video and move on with your lives, because this is really the number one important thing that we talk with people on, and that's going to be the affordable cost of living. Now, this pro about living in New Mexico is not only going to change your life, you know, and your lifestyle, but it's really going to help you get a better sense of your financial situation. Now, I know it did for me when I was living out in New York. I've really seen this like firsthand. Out there in New York back in 2014, everything was just like double and triple of what you can expect to pay here, from living, utilities, and everything else that you wanted to do. I mean, shopping, dining, it was just so expensive to live in a major city that I really had to move back home to be grateful for what I had. Now, living here in New Mexico, guys, is gonna give you a sense of affordability as far as, you know, being able to finally purchase a home, lowering your cost of utilities, because on average you're gonna pay under $300, and that's, you know, the regular gas, electric, and water. Groceries run anywhere from $150 to $200 a week. Now, just depending on how much you eat. Again, I love to eat, so my grocery bill is pretty expensive, right? Now, thinking about this whole thing here is like, how does affordability really change my life? Well, number one, when you can finally stop working 2 to 3 jobs just to afford rent on an apartment, to get a better opportunity or work a remote job and take that pay that you have there and move here, then you can finally, number one, purchase a house. So you're investing into your future and your, you know, wealth creation. 2, you're finally going to put some money away in that savings account for a vacation, for some type of, you know, project that you want to work on, or just more to your retirement. Whatever the case is, guys, your lifestyle here, the anxiety, the pressure, the high speed hustle and bustle is active, but not as active as like Dallas, Los Angeles, New York City, Denver. Like down here, things are pretty slow pace, and the affordability just kind of adds to that. So you can imagine not having to stress out about bills all the time. And of course, stress is always going to be there. It's going to be just easier to manage down here because of the quality of life that you get back, in the sense that you're not always going to have to be working in order to live. So if that's good enough for you and you're just like, man, I'm ready to maximize my retirement, I'm ready to maximize my savings and my future wealth creation for my young family, like whatever it is, down here in New Mexico, it's super doable, and there's so much opportunity still that we're barely like at the tip of the iceberg right now, and I can't wait for us to kind of finally grow, for all you guys to see that. The second pro that I like to bring up in virtually any conversation that I have with somebody that's looking to live down here, and it's bigger now than ever, because with so much growth and expansion throughout these major cities, it's almost unrealistic, so to say, driving in traffic and all that stuff, to get outside and to go enjoy the great outdoors. And here it's super easy to do. the stunning outdoor recreation that we have here year round is a super huge thing for a lot of people that look to live here, because not only do we have a diverse landscape, we have so much different things to enjoy. So if you enjoy rock climbing, biking, hiking, fishing, hunting, painting, bird watching, like there's so much endless things for you to do here. Even living centrally located in Albuquerque, where I live, you're gonna be able to do so much, guys. Like, it's crazy how the outdoors is part of our identity and who we are, even down to the way that we build and construct. Like, you'll see that a lot of the natural landscape is not like messed with, and people think that we should probably mess with it, we should probably do this and that, but a lot of people that are locals here really fight against that, because we enjoy the beauty of our landscape. We enjoy having these sagebrushes and these yuccas and these cactuses and all these different cottonwoods, and there's just so much that we protect and preserve, like even down to the bosque. Like, you'll see that there's these major like water retention things, they so to say, but really I think it's something that they built to stop people from building on the river. And believe it or not, that was one of the agreements that the Native Americans made with the people when they came down here and started creating Albuquerque, that they wouldn't build so much along the river. So it's actually pretty cool to see how even back centuries ago they thought about preserving this beautiful landscape that we have here. So aside from getting mushy and gushy on the preservation of our landscape here, you can find yourself that if you are an outdoorsy person, you are going to be outside all the time. In the wintertime, it does get cold, so you are going to have different layers, but on average it gets around like 30 to 20 degrees. It doesn't get super cold here like in the negatives, and we don't get a ton of snow here centrally in Albuquerque. Now in the summertime, it does get warm and we do see a few days of 100 degrees, but on average you're going to be around like 80 to 90 degrees. And even now going into the springtime, it's like 70 degrees outside in the middle of the day with a little breeze. It's like perfect. Fall and spring here in New Mexico is like ideal. It's almost so serene, so picturesque. Like, you're gonna enjoy living down here if you do enjoy being outside. So if that is you want to spend more time outside, or you're just an introverted person that loves being out in nature, solitude, like some of our hiking trails here are not busy at all. Like in the middle of the week, if you go out to a trail, you're probably not gonna see a soul. So just be prepared for that. Now, the first two things that I was talking about as far as pros go really marry together with this one here. The strong sense of community and community lifestyle is super huge here. Now, at the core of what New Mexico is family. Wherever you go, whatever culture you talk to, whatever ethnicity you talk to, they always emphasize family. It's super huge down here, and it really is a pillar of our community. So you are gonna see that a lot of these people have tight, close-knit communities. Like, it's crazy to see that there's a lot of people that have cousins everywhere, or they know somebody that knows somebody, and everybody's connected in one way or another. Like, if the world felt small at one point, it feels even smaller here in New Mexico, because people have been here for centuries. Like, we forget that people lived here long before anybody ever went and discovered New York City and Los Angeles and all that stuff. Like, people settled here like centuries ago. Santa Fe is like the oldest city in the whole United States. So just to kind of paint the picture for you guys understand that there's deep-rooted history here, and a lot of it is still alive. Like, people have carried traditions on for centuries and years and decades and generations that it's almost so cool to see. But the number one thing that I'm trying to get at in this portion of this video is that strong sense of community and laid-back lifestyle and being able to afford a better life, like, really calms down a lot of people and their nervous systems and their thoughts and their anxieties, and it really helps them to connect with the community and the people around them. So you are going to see that there's different artsy communities, there's different, car communities, film communities. Like, there's something for everybody here, because we are, again, a big melting pot of culture, but it's so welcoming when it comes down to it, that you're never going to feel out of place. And believe it or not, everybody that I've helped move here in the past 2 years from this channel, they always have this fear that they're not going to be able to find their tribe. But the truth of the matter is that within 6 months, they end up making so much friends. They end up doing way more than they anticipated, and they actually grow their lifestyles, even feeling like they took a step back, believe it or not, in terms of quote unquote success. They actually feel a lot happier. So if that interests you guys, and these pros really drive home as far as like touching you and letting you know that maybe it is time for a change, I'd love to have a conversation with you guys. And that number popping up on the screen is my direct line. Feel free to call or text me at any time, because I love to chat with you guys a little bit more on these topics, or possibly a different one that you may have in mind. Now, I can't continue on with the video because I did promise you guys some cons that really could make or break a decision for somebody. And one of the first major cons that I wanted to bring up, because it is super important and a lot of people ask me about this, is the job opportunities, right? For right now, yes, we are still growing and we do have opportunities here, and they're really niched down to just a few sectors like healthcare, tech, government jobs, the film industry, and the service-based industry. Or if you're a small business coming down here, then those people actually really thrive here because we're all about shopping local. But down to like the major aspect, if you want like these major jobs like they would offer in Dallas, Denver, Los Angeles, New York City, Utah, like here it might not be super ideal, and it's actually pretty limited because there's already probably somebody in that position that isn't going anywhere for a while. So just kind of keep that in mind, that you may have to climb the corporate ladder. You may have to do that whole thing of, you know, working in a job that's not necessarily ideal to you right now, but it's going to be a foot into the door to getting into a better position and allowing you to be able to do that at a slower pace because of the lifestyle here. So if that's something that interests you, you're kind of like wondering like, maybe I can slow down my life a little bit and enjoy the journey to the top without feeling all this anxiety and pressure from everybody around me, because everybody around me like has these awesome and great jobs. Like, not saying that there's no awesome and great job down here, but the availability of those are pretty slim. So if that's something that you're interested in and you're just really like, man, I just need to slow down altogether, I really don't care what type of job that I have so long as it's something that I am interested in, then I highly recommend looking into moving down here. The second con, you wouldn't believe that I'd bring this up, but it is a bit of a concern. Right now in March, we have high winds. Like heading into the springtime, the winds here are just terrible, and they really mess with people's asthma and you know, respiratory systems and all that stuff. So if you are concerned about different weather patterns, like this con right here is something that you're going to want to pay attention to and possibly take some notes, because it'll probably help you out. Now, always consult with your doctor before you move down here about the landscape, the low humidity, and sometimes the dryness that we deal with in living in New Mexico, because again, it still is a desert. Now, we don't get a whole ton of rain, but when it does rain here, it does rain pretty good. We don't get a ton of snow in the central area of New Mexico, but anything north, sometimes south, they do get hit with snow in some of those mountain towns. Now, again, like I was letting you know, the weather varies here from, you know, morning to the evening, because it is a desert climate. In the mornings, you can expect it to be cooler, and during the day when the sun is out, it is warmer, and that's year round. Some days are better than others, and some days you may not calculate for it to be raining in the middle of the day when there wasn't a cloud in sight. Like, those are things that really happen here. So if you are not really okay with having like unpredictable weather patterns at times, you may want to reconsider moving to somewhere that is a little bit more polarizing in their weather. So here, again, living in kind of like this high desert mountain climate, you are going to experience, you know, cold temperatures, hot temperatures, everything in between, snow, rain, wind. Like, we experience all four seasons here. So aside from me making it sound a little bit more extreme than it actually is, it's actually pretty mild. You are going to dress in different layers for a majority of the time throughout the year. So yeah, if that doesn't bother you guys, I think you should be okay. I never thought that the last con in this list would be me talking about limited public transportation that we have here. And we're getting better, right? Within the past couple of years, we've actually put up the ART bus and have invested in electric city buses, which is called ABQ Ride. For so many years I didn't know what they were called, but just within the past couple of months I discovered that it's called ABQ Ride. And then there's the ART bus that runs east to west, and it's actually pretty awesome to see that we're getting better at diversifying our public transportation system, because a lot more people are looking to live centrally here in Albuquerque. Now, in other towns and other cities, like, forget it, you're gonna be walking everywhere or riding your bike. So for the majority living here in New Mexico, you are gonna need a car because everything is so far spread out. And if you get lucky enough, you get to live in a community that is close to work, close to amenities, and close to everything that you could possibly want and need, like Nob Hill. So if you want to really discover where you're gonna wanna live in correlation to your work, or what really makes sense to you, because man, maybe you don't wanna own a car, or you're just green and you wanna bike everywhere and you wanna live within a couple of miles of your house, or maybe you want to live within a couple of miles from all these different things that you're going to need for your day-to-day, right? Coffee shops and all that stuff. We can really help you discover that when we get on the Zoom call, guys. But keep in mind that if you do live in like Taos, Santa Fe, Las Cruces, Rio Rancho, Los Lunas, any one of these lost places, you are going to need a vehicle, because majority of the time, if you do live on these outskirts suburb areas of Albuquerque, you are going to be traveling into Albuquerque for Costco, Sam's Club, doctor's appointments, movies, events. Like, majority of the things are happening here, and you're going to have to drive here. So I highly recommend maybe looking into investing into a car. Now, it's not going to need to be anything super glamorous or luxurious or anything like that, because really the number one vehicle that people drive here, guys, and this is actual data, is a Toyota. So you guys kind of have an idea of the type of people that live here. We're all about affordability and reliability to make sure that if we don't have to purchase vehicles all the time because they're breaking or we're trying to keep up with the Joneses, we'd rather just buy one good, reliable vehicle that isn't, going to be an arm and a leg to be able to maintain. We want to do that. Again, affordability and lifestyle here around that is super huge. So it really reflects into people's styles, what they wear, what they drive, where they eat, what they do. Like, it really is that, guys. So don't be worried about the vehicle that you're going to be driving. Just get something reliable. If you want something that's four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, or you're going to be living in these towns where they do get a lot of snow, then I highly recommend looking into that. It'll save you a ton of time and a lot of headaches, so really consider getting a good vehicle. With so much different ideas about what living in New Mexico is like, and I'm barely scratching the surface on this video, guys, because I really want you to reach out so we can have personal conversations on what's important to you and why you're considering moving down to the Southwest. Now, I know why you're probably looking to move down here, because Arizona is way too hot and way too expensive, and Denver is just way too crowded and way too expensive. Down here, our population in some areas is going to be just a little over 100,000 people. Now, in Albuquerque alone, there's almost about 2 million people, but still, everything is so far spread out that the streets aren't going to be busy. You aren't going to deal with a whole lot of traffic. We do have traffic times where the traffic is a little bit high, but it's pretty predictable, so you can kind of schedule and plan your life around that. But aside from that, the affordability aspect, the good weather, and everything that we have to offer here in terms of living is so beneficial, guys. So if you want to talk a little bit more about this, or we want to talk about some things that could potentially be a drawback for you, I'd love to hop on a quick Zoom call with you guys. Feel free to call or text me at any time. I'd love to connect with you guys and really discuss what these next steps are to make sure that that smooth, easy transition down to New Mexico is taken care of for you guys. But I'm gonna go have some coffee, I'm gonna go have some water, and I'm gonna try to wake up because it is early as hell and I'm tired. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.